Hey, it's Matthew Arthur, seasoned entrepreneur. Want to get the right digital foundations to increase the value of your business? Here's how. First things first, why is getting the right digital foundations so important? You want to get the most value from your business, whether that's by growing it to the moon or selling it for a profitable exit, or both of those options. The point is, you want to get the biggest return on investment on all that time and energy and money that you're putting into your business. If you don't get your business's digital foundations right, when you want to add new things like new team members, new software, new customer acquisition streams, new email addresses, you name it. If your business's digital foundations are weak, things will fall apart, and it can be time consuming and expensive to fix. Imagine a house that has weak foundations. Yes, the house will stay together to a point, but what if you want to keep building so that building becomes a skyscraper? As the building starts to get taller and taller, it will eventually come crashing down. Why? Because the foundations were weak. If a potential buyer is looking at your business, will having weak foundations in your business get you a higher price or a lower price? What if your business has weak digital foundations now, but it's operating and it's cash flowing? Can't you just put in these strong digital foundations later down the track? The answer is you can, but be prepared for a time-consuming and potentially expensive exercise. Again, think of the house analogy. If the foundations are weak, what do you need to do to make those foundations strong so it can become a skyscraper? You need to tear down the house, or at least parts of it, and rebuild the foundations. I'm not a builder, but that sounds about right. The point is, it can be a lot of work and a lot of expense. Now, I don't know about you, but I have way too little patience to deal with those kind of situations when they can be easily prevented with just a little bit of long-term thinking. So if you think like I do, at this point in the video, you're asking yourself, how do I get these strong digital foundations in my business so I don't have to face these issues? Let's roll. First thing, you want a clean domain setup, especially if you have multiple domains. Domains are where your website is hosted. For instance, my business's domain is colossalgrowth.com. We mostly use Namecheap and GoDaddy. These are domain providers. Businesses sometimes have different domains and different domain providers. Get that cleaned up so all your domains are with one domain provider in the same account, at least for the same business or related businesses. Password Manager. You want a tool that stores business-related passwords and login details securely, while also enabling your team and contractors to access information quickly so they can work faster. You may be thinking, nobody will hack my account. I just use a shared spreadsheet to store my passwords. I send it to team members on Slack, email, text. You'd be surprised. Hacking happens more than you may think. And the number of times I see businesses where the business owner has all the login details and he or she's being constantly interrupted by the team members who are asking for the details. Sometimes the business owner doesn't even have the login details. It's a huge mess. So you have a situation where team members can't even access what they need to work and achieve something. The business owner is context switching and is running around trying to find the password instead of being able to work on higher leverage tasks that actually propel the business forward. This is not only a cybersecurity nightmare, but also extremely inefficient. To solve this, use a password manager. We use and support Bitwarden. What I love about Bitwarden is you can add different team members and separate what they have access to into categories. That way, specific team members can access what they need, but also not access what they don't need. For instance, you can have a category that has login details that only sales team managers can access. And you may have another collection with login details that only IT staff can access. Efficient and secure. Brilliant. Email address setup. You want the right account and email setup to support as much business as possible. We use and support Google Workspace, but Microsoft 365 seems to get the job done too. You want the right type of email addresses that are easily supported with integrations across various softwares that you're probably going to use as you grow your business. There's an example of what can be integrated later in this video. With Google Workspace, in addition to your primary domain, so let's say in my case, colossalgrowth.com as an example, you can also set up additional domains. This enables you to run multiple businesses and email addresses depending on what you need and manage all of this from a centralized email address or a centralized set of email addresses. Now that probably sounds a bit confusing. Let me explain this a bit. Let's go through an example so you can see how this works. Let's say you have your master domain or your primary domain. Let's call it masterbusiness.com. In Google Workspace, you set up email addresses for the master domain. For example, matt@masterbusiness.com and info@masterbusiness.com. Just a side note, each email address with the master domain does incur a monthly charge. However, it's worth it if you set this up correctly. And you can also set up aliases. So as an example, I could set up privacy@colossalgrowth.com and all email forwards to matthew.arthur@colossalgrowth.com, and I don't pay extra for the privacy@colossalgrowth.com email address. Anyway, let's get back to the example. Now let's say you have 2 other domains for 2 different websites because maybe you want to target different areas and you want the messaging to really speak to that local audience. So let's say you also have secondbusiness.com and thirdbusiness.com. That's 3 domains in total. And let's say you want the email addresses info@secondbusiness.com, matt@secondbusiness.com, info@thirdbusiness.com, and matt@thirdbusiness.com. Let's break for a second and talk about how to do this the wrong way, which I've seen. You pay an email service for each separate email address, dollars rack up. You manage and monitor every separate email address. Waste of time, terrible workflow. Back to the example of how to set this up correctly. Now with Google Workspace, what you can do is set up alias domains. In this case, secondbusiness.com and thirdbusiness.com can be set up as alias domains in Google Workspace. Now this is important. For this to work, you do have to have registered those domains with a domain provider like GoDaddy or Namecheap. I will repeat this. For this to work, you need to have the domains registered with a domain provider like Namecheap or GoDaddy. So if you try to set up domains in Google Workspace without having the actual domains registered, it's not going to work. Okay, once your alias domains are set up, all users have every alias domain available to them to send and receive mail. And these alias domain email addresses are free. They do not incur Google Workspace's monthly fees for additional email addresses. Alias domains are alternate email addresses that automatically direct email to the same Google Workspace mailbox. In this case, each mailbox in Google Workspace, which is info@masterbusiness.com and matt@masterbusiness.com, would both have the alias domains for each respective email address. info@secondbusiness.com, matt@secondbusiness.com, info@thirdbusiness.com, and matt@thirdbusiness.com. Now, all incoming email will forward to your main email addresses, so you and your team can efficiently manage all incoming emails, and you only pay the service for 2 email addresses. Remember, you do not pay for the alias domain email addresses. You may be thinking,
but Matt, what if I want my customers to receive emails from the alias domain email addresses?
For instance, you may want your customers to receive emails from info@secondbusiness.com or matt@thirdbusiness.com. The answer is you can still reply to emails using the from email address as the alias domain email addresses. So if you set this up correctly, you can set it up so your customers or your prospects receive emails from the domain alias email addresses that you intend. And that leads to the last part of the puzzle to getting the right digital foundations: a sales pipeline CRM. Having a sales CRM helps your business track, nurture, and convert leads to paying clients. Having a dedicated CRM is really important, especially if you want to scale. In a good sales CRM, you can track leads. This means you never lose a lead, and you can reactivate old leads. Reactivation can be calling old leads to offer a special promotion, SMS blast outs, email blast outs, you name it. Without having a CRM to track these leads, they're pretty much lost forever.
Oh, what's that? I think I hear money going down the toilet.
You can track what actions have been done by team members with the leads, and you can also record phone calls. This is really useful to see what team members have done, or if a team member leaves and a lead needs to be reallocated. And having the calls recorded enables better coaching so team members can improve, whether they need to set better customer expectations, use better sales techniques, tonality, whatever it is they need to help your business. Leads can be segmented by attributes, such as website lead or meta ads lead, or maybe even special promo lead. You can also segment leads by a stage in the pipeline, such as new lead or quote provided or discovery call booked. The CRM's pipeline is a great tool to use to get a snapshot of all your leads in your pipeline, so you can make smart business decisions. For example, if you log in and see a heap of leads in the new lead stage, probably a good idea to make sure that your business contacts those leads as soon as possible. You can also use the CRM to send out regular emails to your leads, such as email newsletters. You can also set up automatic email campaigns for your leads. Think of a lead magnet, a free resource PDF that you give to a lead in exchange for them giving you their email address, so you can send them recurring value with the idea of influencing them so they engage with you and buy from your business. With the CRM, you can also set up calendars that detect your availability. That's where you need the right email addresses for this kind of integration that I mentioned earlier in the video. You may be thinking,
Why not use something like Calendly or TidyCal? Why should I use the CRM calendar?
1, the calendar functionality comes with the CRM, so you may as well use that instead of paying more for extra software. 2, the calendar in the CRM is more powerful because you have access to automations. For example, if a lead books in a discovery call, an automation can be set up so that that lead automatically moves from the new lead stage in the pipeline to the discovery call booked stage in the pipeline. And you can set up automatic emails and texts as well to remind prospects, just like you can do with Calendly and TidyCal. This can be really useful. For example, if you have a sales team member that's calling new leads, if that lead books in a discovery call, instead of your team member seeing, oh, there's a new lead there, and accidentally calling them when they didn't really need to because a discovery call is booked, your team member doesn't have to make that phone call because it's automatically updated in the CRM. If you use an external calendar like Calendly or TidyCal, you will need to move the lead manually in your CRM pipeline, or set up a more fancy automation using a tool like Zapier or Make.com. And this is much more complicated and potentially more expensive. Now, my caveat on the calendar is if your business can't afford to pay a team member or a business like mine, that's colossalgrowth.com, in case you forgot, and you don't have the willingness or time to learn how to do it yourself, that's when I would recommend using something like Calendly or TidyCal, at least temporarily. They don't cost that much and they are very easy to use. But when you do integrate your calendar, so you've got everything integrated in a CRM, that's when you get full control. Okay, but